Hey everyone, this is George Hanshaw from the eLearning team at Los Angeles Pacific University, and I'm here with Mike, Alex, Ronald Lee, Efren, Grace, Ryan, and Callista from the team, and we're going to take a few moments and go over psychological safety and the first stage of psychological safety, which is inclusion safety. And just so we're all together, psychological safety, the definition is really rewarded vulnerability. So it means you can bring your whole self to work, and you don't have to put up walls or worry about bringing yourself to work. You know your teammate has your back, and they're always there to help you grow, learn, and everything else. So I kind of want to throw a question out to the team about rewarded vulnerability. What does it feel like when you're able to come to work and you don't have to worry about thinking, oh, this might be a dumb idea or whatever it might be, when you don't have to worry about that? How's it feel? And what does that do to the team? Does it raise our standards, or does it kind of crash our standards down? What would you say?
For me, it feels awesome. I love the energy of our team. It's like we feel welcome to be creative and collaborate with one another on a regular basis.
I also like the idea that no idea is a bad idea. And that even bad ideas are good ideas sometimes, because it's just the willingness to, speak. And you can have fun with it. If it fails, it's okay. At least we tried something.
I guess being silly, it really opens that door for everybody. It just, you start to feel comfortable. Just bringing up a joke in the beginning of a conversation is always a good way to start it. So feeling vulnerable, feeling open, that, how do you start that? And that's what you need to think when you start these conversations.
Oh, so to help the team feel vulnerable, be vulnerable yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've seen the freedom that we've had to discuss and talk about the most randomest ideas lead to some crazy innovations that we weren't thinking or planning on. And suddenly we've got 3 or 4 ideas that we didn't even think about, that somebody brought to the table because they felt safe enough and encouraged enough to present them.
Yeah. So what's been the favorite? Let's piggyback off that for a second. What's been your favorite innovation that we've been able to come through? And it may have even started with an idea that didn't work. Ron Lee was saying we have a lot of those ideas, right? I love our reward of it just didn't work.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one, I think. So what's your favorite thing that's come from that? The ideation that we all get to do together.
I think one really cool thing was when we were just talking randomly, and we were just trying to, like, you pitch the idea, let's think really big, and I thought immediately TikTok. And from that TikTok conversation, we all created like these little mini TikTok videos, and eventually it became a project that we submitted for Omni, and it got an award, and that was cool.
That was cool. You know what? I'll put the link to that in the course.
I think for me, one of the coolest things that we've been able to do right now is embed those safe spaces into our courses, where now our students now can create their own meeting rooms where they can study, they can meet with other colleagues just to discuss what's going on, as well as their instructors. I think that idea came with, where's a place where our students can connect with each other and feel the sense of community? And I think that we took a risk of trying all these different elements. We tried Google Meets, we tried, other type of ways. And now we've settled on using Slack as a communication, where the students now feel like, hey, I can easily log in and communicate and express myself, ask questions. And it's us now not only taking that psychologically safe environment that we've felt on our team, but now we're moving it over to our courses. And how can we allow our students to feel the same way?
Yeah, because really that safety, once we all feel it, then it just expands in everything that we design. And we're kind of seeing that I like the pebble in the pond analogy where the concentric circles just keep getting bigger as it grows. It's one of my favorite ones. And then, so as people come into our team or we go in to other teams, we can bring all these ideas and just absolutely bring them forth in a way that generates really raising the bar, raising the standards. What would you say to somebody who thinks psychological safety is about being nice? It's not about, because we have intellectual and creative friction in the team, which is good because that helps us grow. But it's not about the person, it's about the idea, it's about the project, whatever it is, and we have to have that friction to make it get better. So what would you say to people who think that psychological safety is lowering the bar or lowering the standards or being nice?
I think for our team, it ends up looking like we care about each other. The personalities, conflicts, and stuff like that go on the back burner because we care about what we're doing as a group. And so we don't have to lower any standards of how we treat each other because the standard is super high. We treat each other with respect and we treat each other as experts at what we do. And from that comes the trust and the ability to work together to better the product that we're creating.
Yeah, and I think another thing to kind of piggyback on what Calista was saying is understanding that our conflict isn't with each other. Our conflict is just trying to make the best experience or product that we can possibly imagine. So it's us understanding there's a difference in the creativity expression versus the person.
That's cool. So that really just lets the creativity just flow and it just build. So I would say that it really raises the bar quite a bit because, we just got our Gold Omni Award. Big celebrations for that one. We've got silver, we've got bronze as well. So it's just wow. Makes me pause and say, wow, is what it does for me. Because I love seeing everything that's put out. And when you're here, when you first come into the team, so Grace, can I ask you a question? Grace is our newest member of the team. Did you feel welcome when you came here and able to bring your whole self to work? And it's okay if you didn't, just let us know.
No, I definitely did. I think my first worrisome was that everything was virtual and that I couldn't meet everyone in person because it's different. You just see like your face, and so that was my first worrisome. But I think the moment I entered our first meeting, everyone was just so, like open to talk and just get to know one another, and just like conversations were flowing, and like I see body language even just through the lens. And so I think personally for me, I sensed that our environment was very positive, and like everybody was saying, they take this tiny little idea and make it to this like explosion. So for me, I was able to experience safety, psychological safety within our environment.
Awesome. And then, so that first stage, there's 4 stages of psychological safety. There's inclusion safety, then there's learner safety, contributor safety, and then challenger safety. But there's the 4 stages, and that first stage is inclusion safety, where we're going to focus a little bit right now. And inclusion safety is important, especially important to us because it's a basic human right. You have to be human and no intention to harm. That's psychologically or physically. Like today, we just showed that in our ID meeting. Kenna and Alex were there, and Gordon has a question, so we just let him pop right in and jump in to that meeting, which was our space. But when he wanted to come in, now it was our space, including Gordon. So I thought that was kind of fun and neat to get that energy going. So how do you know? What is it? A feeling? Is it a behavior? How do you know when you're included with something? Or with a team, I should say, with others. You're part of that inclusion. How do you know?
I think there's an inherent sense of value, like that we value what each other says and communicates, that each other's ideas have value, even if they don't make sense at the beginning, that every every idea is valuable and could become something valuable when we bring it to the table and are able to communicate it. So a sense of like, I have something important to give, and acknowledgement. I think that comes from acknowledgement when ideas are brought and things do happen. But there's that sense of knowledge that, okay, I'm important and I have something important that I can contribute to this thing.
With that, we've also done a great job, and I credit George for this, of just establishing over and over again that it's an open invitation. Like, this is a safe space for us. Our ideas are valuable. If you don't share them, we'll never hear them. So please, like, you have that invitation at all times to share.
Yeah, and also like the opportunity that you always provide for people, like when you create like a training event or just another type of exercise, like you give everybody that equal right to feel like they can make an impact with it, with whatever they do.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely both. I was a person who did not like to share my ideas because they were not fully formed. And for me, I, on our team, have formed the comfortability to share something, even if it's something that's going to fail, because I know that my team is going to support it, one, but two, they're going to enhance it. So what I've learned in our environment is that every idea is open, because you never know who it's going to inspire. And it now became, I feel, on our team as a competition to who can inspire and encourage and to support and to elevate and to just kind of almost like root for in a way that we've never done before. And I think that's why our ideas have sometimes, we like to call, exploded, because one idea literally lit the firecracker to something beautiful and something amazing and innovative. So it's been awesome on our team to not only feel that, but to see the behavior change in everybody else to make sure that we're encouraging.
I wanted to kind of add to that, because for me, I personally suffer like, or I struggle with not being confident with my skills, but being on this team and having everyone, they have this, like, the encouragement is just so powerful, and they make me feel like they look at me as if I can be an expert at something, and I feel so safe and I feel so confident in being able to do a new thing. And that, I feel, enhances my entire experience as an employee.
And that growth mindset goes with that, right? It's like we might doubt ourselves and our skills in a specific area, but we've done a really good job as a group of taking the growth mindset application and saying, I'm not good at it yet, but I'm going to get there.
Yes.
And the whole team is just like, yeah, like the passion projects and how we're sharing that. We're looking at what everybody else is doing for their passion projects and being like, yeah, I'm passionate about that too. Let's collaborate on that. And so, yeah, I know I'm not good at this thing yet, but I have the freedom and the safety to explore it and get better at it, and then bring that value to the product we're developing.
So it's really it's a feeling that safety. It's a feeling, and it's really a set of behaviors then, because everybody defined those specific behaviors. And so when you feel that, you can't discount the feel. Just like the way we build courses, no feel do. You can't discount that, because you can't. You're excited. I'm excited when we have meetings, rather than, oh my goodness, we got a meeting. No, it's exciting to come in and see what it's going to be. We've all been to those meetings before, right? Where you go, oh my goodness, let me, where's my Monster drink? Where's my Red Bull? Let me get ready for this thing. And it's just amazing the difference that it feels when you're able to walk in and you're just inspired by everybody. I get inspired by everybody on a daily basis, so it makes it just an amazing experience. When we go to another team, we expand out, and we are part of cross-functional teams with multiple disciplines, multiple organizations within the larger organization. So how do we bring that with us? So since we have that environment of psychological safety here, are we able to bring that then with us to these other teams that we go, or does it seem to vanish? Are we more comfortable bringing ourselves to these teams, or how does that work? Does it have an effect there and then affect the other teams?
Well, from my experience when we did the collaboration with the Student Success Department and the Enrollment Department and other people in our organization to design a more a better student experience for our course theme and layout, it was really powerful to watch several different people from our organization be able to speak into our product. And I think our psychological safety, it helped us to receive from them because we've been practicing it as a team. We were able to receive from them, but then we also, practice that with them by showing them, and they've been more and more confident to speak up into other things that have been happening within our side projects as part of eLearning. So having that mindset and then living that mindset in front of others has example to them, made them feel more comfortable, and has created more opportunities for us as a team and as a whole university than would have happened in our previous mindset, which was very seclusive and protective.
Nice. So then as we move forward, so whenever we go onto a new team, and if we're the single point onto a larger team or whatever it may be, we walk in with I'll say I walk in with my radar going, hey, what kind of environment is this? And it's pinging out looking for feedback to what that is. And Grace brought up the point that one of her concerns was, because that was her radar going off, is will I really be able to fit in? Will I be able to really get to know people? Because everything's virtual. Nothing is, we're not in an office together. And has anybody ever had that opportunity to walk into a new job or a new team and that radar goes off like ding, 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 ding? Do not give any ideas. Do not pitch in here. You will be destroyed if you do that. Has that happened to anyone? It's happened to me personally. I had a manager at a completely different organization when I was in my early 20s who would come to us and just actually say in meetings, you're here to do what you're told to do. You're not here for ideas. I mean, it was that blatant. So I say, hey, okay, all right, what am I supposed to do? All right, well, here's the minimal I can do right here. Here you go. Here's my minimum. That's exactly how that one rolled out. I would just kind of kick back, look for other jobs while I was pitching in with my absolute minimum until I found that other job. So that was my experience. Have you had any experiences like that?
I wouldn't say I've ever worked anywhere where it was that like blatant, you're not welcome to share ideas, but I have in hindsight realized that I've been in situations that were not psychologically safe, and they're usually marked by one person is speaking and everyone else in the room is just quietly sitting there. Listening is optional, but
Right.
you walk out with no value. It felt like a waste of time, and you were disappointed with the outcome. And so now having such consistency with our meetings being productive and engaging and collaborative, the value behind having that psychological safety is so obvious and so beneficial, especially for us as a creative team. I can't imagine doing what we're doing now without having that established safety.
I think I've been part of particular meetings where, like Callista said, you're just like, hey, I'm not going to say a word because it's not going to be received. And those come and go. I haven't been in an environment where that's been always the case, but there's been times and definitely meetings where you're just like, well, I think I'm not going to say anything or suggest anything and just scratch my head because nothing's being received. And so those kinds of situations are hard because you may have ideas or something you want to contribute, but for whatever reason, those ideas just aren't accepted, or They're not wanting to be tried because of the effort or the cost involved in the effort. And so you just, at some point, you just decide, well, this is something I just need to let go where it's going to go. And so it doesn't help because the situation probably doesn't get resolved, or if it does, it's through a lot of pain and pain people involved in that conversation. So
I've been in an environment actually where when it came to certain projects, people were very selective with who got to be involved in those projects. And I remember like always wanting to be a part of it, asking, but it just seemed like, it was a form of like entitlement that was very apparent. And I think that kind of discouraged me in general. And it contributed to not like my mental state of working in general, because it's like I wasn't good enough to be part of that project. But so it's very encouraging to be in an environment where people are always invited, and there's that opportunity to start something that's new.
I wanted to, add an experience that I've witnessed at a meeting where we were asked to bring up a concern if there was anything, that we had any concerns in the moment. And we had teachers bring up their issues, and it turned out to an argument between on the side, and everybody else is just listening in. And so that's from then on, I've never brought up any concerns or issues. It was just among, and it became very like cliquey with people in the environment because there were arguments erupting. And so I love what Alexandria was saying, how if there's an idea, we enhance it. But in here, in our environment, it was just, if you have an idea, concern, that they take it personally. So I think our environment here, we're not trying to attack you. We're just trying to make an idea better. So
I definitely think of environments where I've been a learner, as well as work or even leisure activities where the environment was not conducive to allowing my all being to be there. And it even can, involve your culture or your sex. All of that comes into play. And for me, when you're put into those moments, I feel like I'm bearing a bushel. Like I have a gift and I have something unique about myself that I can give to, the people around me, as well as, maybe even the world. And I feel like when you're put into those environments, I just put it under a bushel so no one can experience it. No one can see that light that I have been given. And so in those environments, you walk away just feeling like, wow, I squandered something. I had something to provide and I wasn't allowed to. And so being in an environment where you can shine and you can be a witness to whatever, you need to be doing is an amazing thing. And you see how it really does not only enhance our university, because we're talking in the context of this, but we're inspiring so many other universities outside of that. And so we believe that education should be something that enhances the whole entire world. We believe that we're game changers, not just for this university, but for the entire world. And it's amazing when you see how that it's just like a fire, and it's amazing to see what we can do with it.
Yeah, when we call those, it's actually from Timothy Clark's book, 4 Stages of Psychological Safety. Those are when you're forced to hide that gift that you had. That's because somebody has what we call a junk theory of superiority. So, you know what? You're not this. You don't have this degree. You're not a man. You can't do this. That kind of thing. It's just, those are junk theories of superiority. You don't fit my mold. So we hide our gifts, and wow, how sad is that when you have to hide your gift where you work? So that's why I believe this inclusion safety is so powerful as being the first stage, because we don't have to. Can I pick on you for a moment, Efren? Efren, when you weren't even here a year or right around a year, and you volunteered to take the lead on that one course, the entrepreneur course for professional development. how'd that feel, just taking that on? And you and Ronald Lee came up with some pretty crazy ideas that really panned out nicely. So what are your thoughts?
What I always remember you telling us is be uncomfortable. And I challenge that every day. Like, how can I make myself feel uncomfortable and challenge myself to do something like that? So it's true. That's all I think of. I think of you when I do those things. And
I'm sorry.
How can I challenge myself today and become a better person tomorrow? And sounds like I'm gonna do it. You know, it's like I have a purpose. This is my purpose, is to learn something new, to create ideas. I choose to do it because that's my passion. I want to show my creativity. I just have all these ideas that I really want to share. And I told myself, this is the perfect opportunity. Even if you feel uncomfortable, just do it. And that's where I went. I was like,
that's awesome.
That's my purpose. I'm gonna go for it. And that's how my mind process went from that.
Look what's coming from that. That's awesome.
What I was just thinking about, I was kind of just thinking back, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, of situations where maybe I didn't create psychological safety, maybe in group projects in school, things like that, where maybe I wasn't as open to the constructive criticism, and maybe where people were really probably trying to actually help me, and I wasn't open to it, and probably rejected what they were trying to share with me, and how that probably shut them down and did not help the whole situation. You know, I can't say that's happened anytime recently, but I was thinking back that it's definitely happened.
Yeah, I think that we've all probably done that at some point. Absolutely. I know you can throw me in that bucket as well. Especially in school when you're like, look, I just want to get this done. I like the point that you made, because the end product probably wasn't something that could have been as amazing as if everyone felt free to just chime in and build it. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So I hope you've enjoyed the discussion on psychological safety and the first stage, which is inclusion safety. Always remember that inclusion safety is a basic human right, and to offer inclusion safety, the other person just needs to be human and no intent to harm. This is how we do it on our team. We'd love to hear about how you do it on your team. So hit us up on your favorite social media site with hashtag LAPUX and let us know how you're building psychological safety and how you create an innovative and high-performing team. This is what learning feels like.